So yeah, in conversation's been set up for a chance for people like you to sit down and talk to us and go through some of your work and how the images were created, and what it was like working on the set and like being with the teams. And it's just a good chance to give other people, other creatives, an insight into the industry and for them to see, yeah, kind of what goes into it basically. And we can delve back and sort of just go with you, just ask about sort of your background really. So where did you grow up really?
So I'm from like right outside of Liverpool, so I basically just say Liverpool to most people
Yeah.
because it's if you're from Liverpool, people would get mad if I said I was, but no one else knows what I'm on about, so I just say Liverpool.
Right, okay. Um, and then so are you in Liverpool now? Are you based in Liverpool?
Yeah, I'm based there anyway, so
Yeah.
pretty much Liverpool.
Yeah. And is it really good for like yeah, getting into because obviously like Manchester's close by with where we are, and
Yeah,
is it quite good for access to like different places like that?
yeah, definitely. Like it's you can get to anywhere from there pretty much. So my actual agency is Manchester based. So I just kind of flick between the both.
Yeah.
And Liverpool has a great like creative scene anyway, so it's a good place to be for that kind of thing anyway.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, quite a few lot. No, obviously, the big one, like Liverpool and Manchester, are really big for the creative stuff, and then you've got London as well. But I mean, to be
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
located there, I've been a few times to Liverpool and for jobs and stuff, and it's always I feel like there's certain places you go to, and it's got a bit of character about it, and I get that feeling with
So,
Liverpool.
yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those cities that has like a personality. Like it is a
Yeah.
great place.
What's it like growing up in Liverpool?
Um, I don't know. It's quite. I don't know how to describe it because it's normal to me. But then like I've obviously since I've gotten into like the fashion industry and stuff, like it's normally always people from like down south and London. So it's kind of weird. Like there is defo it's defo different.
Yeah.
And there's definitely like I wouldn't say like a cultural difference because it's only like up the road, like, but you definitely feel a bit out of place like sometimes when you're in London because it's so like different to how we
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Yeah, it's quite a
The
jump when you go
chaos.
to say lots of places like London that like so busy as well, and then
Yeah.
I feel like with Liverpool and Manchester, and I feel they've got that creative scene going on, but they've got the sort of it feels a bit more relaxed than some like busy places like London and stuff like that.
It's more like homely. Like I remember my first few times in London, I was just shocked by like because it's so businessy and stuff. Like everyone's just like darting around and like doesn't talk to you, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
like whoa, like
Yeah, a lot of people from up north, as I say, it's quite a jump to sort of when you come down, and then it's just yeah, everyone's
yeah,
just yeah, everyone's in a hurry and everyone's got to be somewhere.
yeah. You get used to it after a few goes, but I was terrified my first few visits. I was like, oh wow, where's everyone going so quickly?
So yeah, then how did you growing up and stuff, how did you make the jump into modeling? When did you start doing that?
So I was like kind of scouted by a street photographer. So I was just I literally I remember it like I was literally just walking out of a hairdresser's with one of my friends and he just stopped me basically because of the outfit I was wearing. I was wearing like loads of tartan and like these really ripped not leggings, like tights.
Hmm.
So we just wanted to take a picture of the fashion, but then from there he was like, "Oh, like you could be a model." And like it never like come up before because there's you don't really have models around here. That you get a few, but because it's not a big like fashion area, it just didn't seem something that was like in touch for me. So I was just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, like whatever. But then from then it kind of just built up. And it was also with being in fashion school, like I just kind of became like the default like stand-in model for everyone.
Hmm.
Just because I was like tall and thin very much. But then like, people were like, no, you could actually do this as a job. And I was like, sure, okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't something
Um,
that really occurred to you. You hadn't sort of
no,
grown
no.
up lot
It
sort
was
of wanting
I
to do it.
yeah, like I always liked fashion and I grew up watching like fashion shows, but it just didn't seem like a tangible thing. It just seemed like oh that's cool, you know. Um, but then people kept like it just came up so many times for me that I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna send off pictures to a few agents, and then that was it. I got signed pretty much right away and was home. I'm still a student. This is a bit much, like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So when did you start noticing a bit of a jump with it to sort of then you started feeling like, oh yeah, this is something I could be doing quite often.
Um, it was really quick, to be honest. It was literally just over the span of like a couple of months. We so we it started with like the street photography, and then a few of my mates had started um a Liverpool based. It was called Liverpool Fashion Scene. And they used to like meet up and do photo shoots and like style people. And it's just like a place for like a bunch of like creative fashion people
Hmm.
to have a space because there wasn't really anything like that up north, or at least in Liverpool. And then from that, it just kind of my confidence grew, and then people started reaching out more and being like, "Oh, will you model for me? Will you model for me?" And then from there, it just happened to me. It was kind of like an accidental thing, really.
Yeah. And then yeah, so that's kind of so when did you get signed with the agency? Was that around that sort of period then?
Yeah, so I think I've been with the agency for I don't know if it's 2 years or like 1.5, but it was I was doing it like freelance and like doing street photography for about 2 months, and then my mates just pressured me to just send off pictures to an agency, and then that was literally it. Like quite a few of them got back to me, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting like an answer. It's a bit stressful.
Yeah.
Um, but I got into it, and the thing is as well, I realized early on I really enjoyed doing it. Um, so whenever people would offer me to do a show, I was like, yeah, like I want to.
Hmm.
So I think it was my confidence as well, where I just like walked into my agent's office, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to do this. Like pretty
Yeah.
much what happened.
Well, those are big things. Yeah, I think like with the confidence and then enjoying it, and I think especially if you enjoy it as
Yeah.
well, it does help the confidence. And then yeah, especially the agencies, they'll love to see that and they sort of want to see people who are passionate about it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because I already had like a big interest in fashion generally, and I just love the idea that like, because I was working with a lot of like graduates, I was getting to wear all these really creative clothes, and that was just like so cool to me because I was seeing things I didn't get to see most of the time. And then I was like, oh, wait, I could be making money doing this as well. So that was like, oh, I didn't realize that.
That's like a
So
bonus as well. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It didn't even occur to me at first, and then I got my first paycheck, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty
Yeah.
good.
I could do more of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I can get into this. Yeah.
What was it, do you think, you're saying that like quite straight away you enjoyed it. So what do you think it was that just really appealed to you quite early on?
I think first, I used to just be very shy as a person, which always shocks people because I'm very like out there now. And I think at first it was just taking pictures back and looking at them and like being like, oh, I'd look nice. Like it was at first it was literally just like, oh, a confidence thing.
Yeah.
But then from there, so my first few things were just like street photographers, just taking pictures of me as I was. And then from there, it was like people would want me to do it for their brands, and then I'd get to see all these cool clothes, and that it would help my uni work because like I was seeing all these fun ideas, and then
Mhm.
obviously I was making my own designs as well. Um, yeah, so it was just so interesting. And I worked with like a lot of I'm big into like vintage clothes, and a lot of vintage brands were working with me. So again, it was like that personal interest of like doing stuff that I enjoy and
Yeah.
getting like cool pictures out of it, and
Yeah. And did you when you were so when you didn't like practice or anything with the modeling, did you just kind of just go straight into it, or you
no,
say
yeah,
those early sort of tests and stuff? Is that just stuff that really helped?
yeah, I definitely learned just from like trial and error because so the first one was just a street, it was like one or two photos, and then from there I worked with that same photographer a few times. And like my first couple of shoots, the photos were pretty, but I was a bit like a deer in headlights because I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what posing was. I thought I looked stupid. And like, so I just
Hmm.
kept working with this same photographer called Howard Jackson. And I just kept working with him like every few weeks, we'd just do a little shoot and, I'd just wear whatever I wanted. And from there, I just slowly got more dynamic with it and learned because it's quite confusing as a model. You don't really realize before you get into it, but there's no like training. You just kind of get sent to these jobs. You can have your agent and stuff, but you do have to like just trial and error it. And your first few shoots, you'll just be like stiff and awkward, and you look a bit stupid. But like after you get comfortable, you kind of just like get into it and the flow of it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because it's something I've had quite a few models on it as well. And it's something I tried to ask as well about, and there generally seems to be a thing of that where it's there's not really anything that prepares you for it or kind of any like courses you could do or anything like that. It's just more you kind of
Yeah,
do with those early tests and just learn from trial and error, like you say.
yeah. Because I know when I first was signed, I already had a bit of a portfolio going from my shoots. So literally within like a few days of signing the papers, they just sent me to like the middle of nowhere to do this like big job, and it was terrifying because I was like so out of my element. But I mean, I did well on the job. But I think the thing as well is it's when I do a job, I just say to myself like, well, you're here now, like you might as well do your best. You know,
Mhm.
you can't overthink it and think, oh, do I look bad? Because it shows on your face if you look, scared and stuff. So you
Yeah,
just have to go, oh. You have to accept that some of the photos will be horrible and some of them will be really good.
yeah. And like you're saying with that early shoot as well, just going back to where you mentioned about you were using the same photographer for a few times. Do you think that really helped? Was it something that doing those the first few shoots you did those early tests and it was just something to like build the confidence? Obviously, when it's someone you've worked with then a few times, you feel a bit more comfortable and confident sort of with your posing and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he was familiar, so it wasn't. I knew he wasn't judging me. I mean, no photographer is judging you, but my first thoughts were like, "Oh, do I look stupid? Is he thinking, oh, why have I done this?" But the fact that he kept wanting to work with me, and he was boosting my confidence. It was really useful. I found, and I still keep in touch with him to this day. I still work with him sometimes, like if
Mm.
I've had a quiet period, because it's just really nice to like watch my development through like his lens. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, it's a good idea. And again, I think something for people who, if they are getting into it as well, it's a good idea of a way of like, if you want to get started building the confidence and yeah, working with the same person definitely can help with that.
100%. Yeah, like even if it's like just a friend with a camera or even like shooting yourself at home, like just like with your phone. Because I mean, I do a little bit of social media work, so I do like sometimes just set up my camera and just give it a go. And that's probably one of the least nerve-wracking ways to do it.
Mhm.
If people are like interested but they're not sure, like just you can delete them if they look horrible. Just give it a go.
Yeah.
And from there, just see where it takes you pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, yeah, we'll dive into the first image actually. So this was the one with the balloons.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love this image. It just seems like quite a cool concept. So, yeah, how long ago was this one? Do you remember?
It was summer, so I think it was like June of last year, about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the concept behind one, so the photographer Charlie, he wanted the idea was kind of this idea of like a sad tea party, and like so it was a very well lit, all the bright colors and the balloons, but with like the bright lighting kind of like over the face and like sad expressions. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the start? What was the team like? Or did you kind of style that yourself or did they have like sort of people there?
So it was the photographer, and he had an assistant with him, but I just styled myself. So I naturally just wear a lot of like 60s and 70s clothes. So when he said like his inspiration was like, bright, happy colors, then it's going to contrast with like the posing and stuff. So I wear a lot of like colourful, like bright tights, and I had the Daisy dress, which I thought was cool because I'm called Daisy as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then we just shot it in Sefton Park in Liverpool, which was really cool because it's like somewhere I always hang out with my mates, so
Yeah.
it was fun to do like work in my own like little environment. It's quite cool.
Yeah. It's something quite personal as well, somewhere you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And like with your kind of yeah, your style, there's with some of the images as well I've seen that you've posted, do you feel like yeah, how would you describe your style? Do you feel it's like quite a strong look? And obviously,
Yeah,
again, you can apply it to some of these shoots.
so, yeah, it's mostly like 60s and 70s. I do collect a lot of vintage clothes. I flip between different like sub aesthetics within vintage, but most things I wear are like vintage clothing. Um, and it's fun. It is fun to get to do like the odd shoot where I wear my own stuff or my own style. Because a lot of the time, obviously, as a model, your job is to be a canvas. So, sometimes I enjoy it actually, but you just become a different person. So every once in a while, I'll do a test shoot in my own things just to like I don't know, just like reconnect with that. Because a lot of the time you become all these different people and you're like, whoa, it gets mad when you see the photos of yourself and is that me? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it must be
yeah,
interesting when, yeah, you like saying yourself, you feel like you've got such a strong style or something you like, and then when you're having to give yourself a completely different look for a shoot, it
yeah.
can be quite a jump as well. Like you say, you go, oh, that's what I look like with this style, or
Yeah, that's the thing, because I am seen typically as a more like alternative model for my work. But at the end of the day, you're a canvas, so sometimes they'll, pull my hair back or give me very like kind of girly makeup or very just different like styles of clothing. But it's interesting because you get to see yourself in those styles. And the thing that actually got me into wearing 70s clothes was doing a 70s kind of photo shoot for a vintage company. And I just wore the clothes and was like, oh, I look good in this. And then from
Hmm.
there, I just started getting really into vintage. And so it's cool to like experiment with like, it's like a safe place to like experiment with what you want to wear and what you want to look like, I
Yeah,
find.
yeah, I've thought that when working as well with some, especially with some models of work when they get the hair done like in so many different ways constantly and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's quite yeah, it's quite a cool way of just being like, oh yeah, like this that actually like suits me quite well, or quite like that, and it might be stuff that you've never really considered before.
Yeah, like because a lot of shoots will have like makeup and hair teams. So from them, I actually learn like things that I just apply to my daily life. Like if they do, if a makeup artist does something that looks really good, I'm like, oh, what product is that? Like, what have you just
Mhm.
done there and stuff. So it's actually really good for like just developing as a person, pretty much.
Yeah, you get some like insider tips and stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm like they'll put something in my hair, and I'm like, oh, what is that? It feels great. It's a
Yeah,
good little hack, really.
yeah. Just one more on that shoot as well. Yeah, do you feel like when you've got ones like this where there's like a certain concept, like say it was the sort of tea party feel, and do you feel like with some of these where you're having to kind of play a role a little bit, or like having to almost like act in a little bit?
I do feel like you become like someone else for a few hours. It's really fun. Like I always refer to myself, I feel like a little Barbie doll sometimes, but I like it. It's really fun and I have done like little bits of acting before, so it's a good experience because the photographer comes at you with like a vision of whatever it is they want to create, and you just get to become that for a couple of hours, and then you can go and be yourself again.
Yeah,
So I just find it really fun that I'm like, one day I'm this, then I'm that, and then it's
yeah.
great.
I just thought, yeah, it must be quite cool. Like again, compared to depending on the job, then some you get that just might be ecom and it's just posing the clothes. But then when you get some like this, it does feel like a different approach you have to take.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the more creative stuff. So I do a lot of e-com, which will just be like, like front and back of an outfit. And it's fine. I don't mind doing that either because you still get to, have a good time. But I do love when I then get put on like an editorial, for example, and they do things that I wouldn't normally do on myself, and you get to see like really creative stuff like design and like hair makeup. Like a 60s mod themed shoot. And that was really interesting because the photographer, Chris, I believe, was sorry, it's hard to put the names off the top of my head. Just I know
I
so
see
many
so many people
photographers.
in the industry, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it blurs into one after a while. But
Mm.
so he like collects a lot of vintage, so all of the props were like old vintage finds. So he had, the coat, the hat, there was other things on the same shoot where we had like 60s mod scooter helmets and like old magazines and stuff,
Hmm.
which was really fun. And it was actually really useful for me as well because at the time I was actually doing a university project on mods.
Mm.
So then I had all this imagery and I'd seen all these pieces that I could then apply to what I was doing at uni afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good timing. Do you get told that's when you turned up in the studio, like stuff, certain shoots like that, do you get told stuff much beforehand? Or is it more you turn up and then it's like, oh, this is what we're doing?
Typically, yeah, they typically send over like mood boards and like a basic concept. Yeah, for this shoot, he did send pictures of the actual outfits. But it depends. I think when it's a more editorial, you kind of find more, you get more information. But it just depends on the person because sometimes you just show up and don't know what you're expecting.
Hmm. Do you prefer to have a bit more information beforehand, like a certain mood board or anything like that?
A little bit. I do like having like solid direction. I like when they know what they want from me. I don't mind too much about like planning it in advance, but I do like at least when I arrive, they know what we're doing and it's all organized and stuff.
Hmm. And on the shoot as well, like you mentioned about bits of direction there and stuff, are there certain things you prefer on shoots? Like, say, for example, that, yeah, so do you prefer, as you're shooting, do you prefer the photographer to be quite sort of direct and being like, oh, put your arm there, do this, or do you like to let it flow, or a bit of both?
I like a mix of both. I do like um yeah, I like direction. I've had in the past sometimes you do shoots where you get the photos back and you're like, oh well, my hair needed to be fixed a little bit or stuff like that. So I do appreciate when a photographer has like an eye for like the little details because I can't see myself. So
Mhm.
I'm just doing what I kind of know on default. So yeah, I like a little bit of direction, but I do find that once you get into a shoot, you tend to just move naturally. You kind of get into the vibe of what's going on. So a lot of it will just be free. And I think some of the best shots do come from when you just like just give something a go and see how it looks. And
Yeah,
if it doesn't work, you don't have to post it anywhere.
yeah. It's like, well, I've definitely had some of them as well where it's those ones sometimes when it's just left to flow a little bit, and then sometimes you're like, oh
Mm.
yeah, didn't even think about that. We've got something like that that is hard to plan, basically.
Yeah, I think yeah, like a bit of a loose idea with like mood board and directions we're going, but once you get into it, it does tend to just flow naturally a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Do you like music or certain types of music on shoots?
Typically, I don't know. I do like I'm big into my music, but I tend to listen to like quite old music and like old rocks and stuff. So a lot of the time I just let them play whatever they want to because I know most people won't listen to what I'm listening to, so I'm like, oh, just play what you want. But I think it's realistically if they play what they're thinking of, you kind of get more in tune with them and what they want for the shoot, which is like my job pretty much.
Mhm.
It's all fun and games being like, oh, I want to listen to this and I want to eat this and be here at this time and stuff. It's like, oh well, it's your shoot.
Hmm.
So if they're thinking pop music, then that's probably a good direction for like being more upbeat, for example, and more dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to hear that but yeah, of kind of it's like yeah, adapting to the sort of shoot you're on and sort of being part of that
Yeah.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, just like fitting in with just the vibe of what they're going for and stuff. So I think the photographer or say like the designer, for example, I think they know best
Hmm.
when it comes to creating like the right mood. So I tend to just trust their kind of vision with it.
Yeah. Um, and with that image, like we spoke about the last one as well about where you're doing a bit of a role. With this one as well, again, it's like a similar thing with this. It's a very strong sort of concept and more with like the posing. Do you feel like we were saying before, but like do you feel like you have certain poses like when you've got something like this, you feel like oh, I've got to do certain types of poses for it, or again, is that while you're on the shoot, it's more what the photographer is kind of telling you to do?
And I think when it comes to things like e-com jobs, you do have like kind of automatic poses you go for, just like functional poses pretty much, where it's like you need to make sure you're showing the clothes, you need to make sure it's not creased, things like that. So you do tend to hit the same like 5 to 10 poses.
Hmm.
But when it comes to like editorial and creative stuff, that's when you kind of just take liberties with it and just give things a go. And then the photographer might go, oh, change that, or you might do something accident. I've had a few times where you accidentally do something and they're like, oh wait, do that again, and that ends up being the image, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were just saying as well, it can be, yeah, sometimes something can just come out of nowhere and then, yeah, that
Yeah.
works like that you might not have thought of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like with like ecom, for example, it's very rigid with what they need because it's you need to be displaying things properly. But even then, sometimes they'll mix in a little bit of like creativity with it, for, like social media stuff.
Hmm. Do you prefer doing these, like, obviously, ecom can be very repetitive and a bit tedious sometimes. Do you prefer doing these more like creative ones then? Do you find that a bit more fun and engaging?
Yeah, I think I find them more engaging, but I do enjoy the more basic ones sometimes just because it's gives you a bit of a rest, you know what I mean? It's kind of you know what to do, you know that you're doing it right. Because with
Hmm.
the creative stuff, it's like you don't want to not execute the concept well.
Hmm.
But with, you know, if it's say like just you're modeling like a t-shirt, for example, it's just, well, here's the t-shirt, here's the front, here's the back, you know. It gives
Yeah.
you a bit of a, you know, you're doing a good job kind of thing.
Yeah. Um, yourself on shoots, would you say you're quite introvert or extrovert?
I'd say I'm extroverted. I've always been told, something my agent said to us was that when you're being picked for a job, you're not just being picked, you are being picked for your looks, but they also have to consider the fact that they have to spend the entire day with you. So if you kind of show up and you're very quiet and anxious and you don't really, you know, they have to tell you everything, it's a bit gets a bit tedious for the team.
Hmm.
But so I tend to just show up and I'm just like, well, we're here all day, we might as well have a laugh, you know. I'll be
Hmm.
chatting away to whoever's doing my hair and makeup and you know, when it's time to do the work part, I'll you know, focus. But
Yeah.
like I say, it's normally very long days. You don't want to be very, you know, boring and it just makes the day drag on, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I've found that it can make it drag a bit more if you've got a member of the team or if they're just kind of sat on the phone quite a lot and all that. And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah, you've got a
'Cause
full
I've
day of
heard
it.
stories. Yeah, like I've heard stories in the past, like not anyone I know, but people get dropped because they show up and they you know, they've got a bad attitude and they're rude and they're, you know, very, like, I don't know what the word for it, like princessy kind of, you know,
Hmm.
but you might as well just show up and have a good time and a laugh. Like you're getting paid for it. You might as well have a smile on your face, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the right approach.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
a bit of diversion. How do you feel about sort of like castings and stuff like that? And have you done like fashion weeks or anything like that?
I've attended Fashion Week. I've not done it as a job yet, but
Hmm.
I'm hoping that might happen this year or maybe next year. Um, but I've done quite a lot of castings now, and they're cool, but they're very I don't know if they're like anticlimactic in a way because it's you tend to like travel quite far for them, but it's about like 5 minutes, you know.
Hmm.
So it's ideal if you have like multiple to get to in one day, because you know you have all the nerves of like getting up, getting ready, getting your train down, and then it is just in and out photos, and then you either get booked or you never hear anything back. It's just quite
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I've heard it can be quite a lot just for like say like a quick 5 minute meeting or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like sometimes you get to one and you're just like, I know I'm not gonna get this job, or like you're just like, oh, I spent my whole day doing this now. You know, because you
What
show up and there's like 50 people in the queue and you're just like, yeah, this is a waste of time.
is
But
it?
you might as
What
well
is it
book.
about that? Is it the kind of is it that when you just see like the number of people? What is it that gives you that initial kind of feeling of like, oh, I'm not going to get this?
I think sometimes, some I personally experience like just not matching the aesthetic of the brand a lot of the time because I'm a bit more like alternative looking. I just feel like sometimes I've shown up to ones and I'm like, they're looking for a more like girly girl kind of. You know what they're looking for once you see everyone else there, and you're just like, oh, yeah, because you know I've come all this way and I know I'm not gonna get it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So I know what you mean. So it's kind of seeing those around you and then being like, oh yeah, there's
Hmm.
definitely a certain type of look they're going for.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the you have to get used to like as a model, like not taking rejection personally because it's not, you know, you've already been signed. It's not because you don't look good. It's because if they're dead set on having a blonde girl, then I know I'm not going to get the job.
Hmm.
It's not because I'm not a good model. It's just what they want for this campaign. And you never know, the same brand could then call you back a few months later and then book you. It's just what they want on that specific day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good bit of advice, and it's just making people aware that, yeah, like I say, there's obviously they're after a certain type of look, and it's like it might not
Yeah.
fit this, but it'll be fine for something else.
Yeah, you can't let it like knock you because it's standard that you go through plenty of castings and then only get a few of them. Um, it's just finding the right brand at the right time. Because I've had it before where I've done casting and then not gotten the job, but then they keep me on their records because at some point they might want me if I match the next thing they do.
Hmm. Um, yeah, we'll go into that last image. Now this is one of the ones we had a feature on as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so this was the yeah, what was the sort of what was the idea behind this one? Again, was it something you got sort of told about much before?
So basically, what happened was, so that was shot by Jay Chow, and he's just one of my friends. And that was just an outfit that I'd worn myself on my Instagram, and he was just like, "Oh, this is a really cool look if you want to do a proper shoot with it." So that was literally it, and it was a very like last minute impromptu, just cool look. I've got the day free. Let's do a shoot. But it ended up being probably my favorite one to date, and it's the one that I'd say did the best because it got featured in quite a few magazines in the end. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of like, well, you yeah, it was so last minute, but it ended up being one of the best things I've done.
Yeah, well, I can see why you enjoy it because it's like your style as well, and that kind of, yeah. And again, was that something you kind of brought to it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think I just felt so like comfortable because I already knew him, and it was an outfit I knew looked good, and I felt cool in it. So it
Hmm.
was just one of them where it was like, because sometimes, yeah, sometimes you do shoots and if someone else is dressing you, you kind of look at yourself, I don't look good.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that. I was like, oh, this is nice. Like,
Do you feel if you're wearing, like, say, with something like that, and you feel, does it make you feel more comfortable, more confident? And do you feel that affects how you're posing and how the images are coming out? Or do you feel like you kind of have to just push past that and, like you say, if you've got some outfits, you go, "Well, this is not how I dress, it's not my style, but I still have
yeah.
to kind of bring my A game to it."
Oh yeah, yeah, you just have to push through it. Um, like I say, you just can't take anything personally with like modeling and stuff. If they want you in a certain outfit, it doesn't matter if it looks awful. It's on the client to tell you what to do.
Hmm.
To an extent, obviously, it's my job to bring. My job is to bring like the posing and the aesthetic. If they want me in something, I don't have to like the clothes. I don't have to like the product. It doesn't have to be a company that I'd ever like buy from personally.
Yeah. Well, I say that you're there and it's like, oh yeah, we've got to kind of like try and sell it and stuff. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. My agent once said to me, like, models, like, you're just selling this stuff to people. Like, you need to be able to make a bin bag look good, is what he said. Like, it's just, I might never put on that outfit by choice, but, my job is to make people want to buy it, even if
hmm.
it's not my style, And it's
Yeah.
not even necessarily that the clothes are not nice, just something I can reach for naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, last couple of questions. Just one of them is just are there any kind of concepts or ideas that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
Um, That's top of my head, not particularly. Um,
Do you feel like you've done like quite a nice mix of stuff already?
I think I have quite a diverse like portfolio already. If anything, something I need to do soon is like a very basic test shoot, which I'm gonna plan soon. Just with like jeans and a t-shirt or something, because I tend to gravitate towards editorial and like fun stuff.
Hmm.
I tend to forget like, oh, I need to make sure there's plenty of like plain stuff in my books for people to look at.
Yeah, getting that mix in there.
Yeah,
Um,
you need a good balance. Yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, just finally, yeah, any little bit of advice for anyone who's, I mean, we have spoke about it, so you've given lots of good tips actually as well about sort of stuff starting out early, but is there anything extra you feel like you need to add to tell people about if they're beginning modeling?
Yeah, go. I'd literally just say just go for it. people always say like the worst thing they can say is no, and they don't even do that. Genuinely, like if you send your pictures off to an agent or to a brand, or if they send it for you, if it's a no, it's nothing. No one ever looks at your photos and go, "Why have you done it? Like, why have you applied?" Like, because I think that fear stops a lot of people from just going for it.
Hmm.
They'll never be like, "Oh, how dare you apply for this job?" Like, they
Yeah,
just think, "Oh, I'm not right for this," or "We can't make money off this person." That's it.
yeah,
So don't let what they're thinking stop you from giving it a go, because you might not. You might end up with a career out of it. You might not. You might as well try if you
yeah.
want
You
to try it.
don't know until you give it a go. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't know until you try it. Yeah,
yeah.
100%.